Hello and welcome to round 12 of Grand Prix Vancouver. I'm Brian David Marshall alongside Randy Bueller, and we are watching 11-0 Matt Sperling kick things off against Ryan Bemrose, who is 10-1. Looks like a Scryland for Matt Sperling, followed by a Thoughtseize on turn 2. Hollowed Fountain for Ryan Bemrose. What are you taking here,
Revealing
Randy?
his hands. Syncopate, Detention Sphere, Supreme Verdict, Rev, Land, Jace. Some of it depends on my hand. Like maybe the Syncopate.
I was thinking about the Syncopate here.
I mean, long term, depriving him of the Sphinx's Revelation is going to be the thing that advances your game plan the most. But we're not at the long term yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's turn 2, so
Right, we're at Sphinx for 0.
But he takes us to Sphinx's Rev. Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends how annoying he thinks Syncopate is going to be to his hand. That's very. I mean, the power of that card is very context driven. Also, knowing about Syncopate makes it a lot.
So
easier
he
to
could
play
go
around.
land Pack Rat here and defend it.
Well, he's going to run out Nightfell Spectre. He's like, you want to Syncopate it? Go ahead.
And also sort of indicating that he might have something better, right? He's telling.
Right.
He's telling
That was
Ryan,
bait.
Yeah.
That was bait.
Understood.
It's really attractive bait, though. I certainly would have syncopated it if I was Ryan.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right, and
like
if Ryan decides that he wants the Detention Sphere instead, then he's off for a turn from being able to syncopate. Oh, no fourth land.
And Matt does not tap out for Underworld Connections. Doesn't want to get it Detention Sphered without getting to draw a card first. So he just says go rather than doing anything.
Plays Jace Architect Thought, immediately flips over 3 cards, including another Jace, a Plains, and another Detention Sphere.
What's Matt's hand? A couple of Gray Merchants, Underworld Connections, Devour Flesh?
Looks like he also has a...
does he have a Hero's Downfall?
I think he has a Hero's Downfall.
Okay. Well, that makes the saying go make a lot more sense.
And Ryan Bemrose kind of
coming.
had the read there, so he took the Jace and pushed the other 2 cards. Yeah.
Fourth land is pretty good. Now Matt can play Underworld Connections while Ryan's tapped out and get to draw a card from it. The card's so good against control.
And you're pretty happy even just getting the card here, right?
Yeah, I mean, so Detention Sphere takes out Underworld Connections.
Yeah, Temple
Matt
of Silence.
does get to draw the card. Essentially trading resources.
I mean, that's what both of these decks do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the Black Devotion deck, it's a control deck at the end of the day. It wants to trade cards 1 for 1. It wants to win in the late game with an overwhelming card advantage engine.
Naked Gray Merchant from Matt Sperling here. Just 2 life.
And yeah, that game plan is very much the same as the blue-white deck's game plan. I mean, Pack Rats are kind of different. Like, the black deck can have this, does have these Pack Rat games that don't play out quite that way, but...
So we see Supreme Verdict, Thassa, and Azorius Charm. And
splits Thassa as the only card, and Ryan doesn't hesitate to take it.
He just like, boom. Well, look how close he is to turning it on.
1 more Detention Sphere. Gray Merchant gets charmed.
You can do that again. That's fine. I don't mind.
With defending his Jace.
Yeah.
And there's Pack Rat. Not as good against a deck with Supreme Verdicts, though. All right, so Ryan has a Thassa. Plays a Scryland. Ryan also, does he have a Detention Sphere left, the second one?
I don't think so.
I think is that Sphinx's Supreme Verdict in Ryan's hand?
It is, yeah.
He's going to go ahead and Supreme Verdict now. And plus the Jace.
Right.
All right, so he's dealt with the Pack Rats. He didn't really want to play the dance where Matt sinks a card in and hits him for a couple. Content to just deal with the Pack Rat threat without getting card advantage and just trading 1 for 1.
Right, and we'll happily just take 2 from a Gray Merchant here.
Right.
He's like, okay. Now, yep, activate Jace, flip land, syncopate, supreme verdict. So what's the split here? Just supreme verdict? No, supreme verdict land or syncopate.
Take the 2 cards, right? I mean, I guess Sperling has run out of lands, so syncopate is pretty close to a hard counter. Ryan's got enough that he can stay untapped, but still hard to pass up a land and a supreme verdict.
As a control player, right? Anytime someone's going to give you
2 cards and one of them's a Wrath of God.
Whoa.
Is that
divination? Yeah. There were players playing uncovered clues here this weekend. So I wasn't sure, you know, I was like, wait, what?
Wow, so verdict just on the
and then elixir.
On the Grey Merchant.
Yeah, well, he wants to get a, like you said before.
Defending his Jace.
Defending his Jace, yeah, I'd be able to tick it up next turn and then maybe get another set of cards a turn after that and let the Jace go. Or even just tick it up for 2 turns.
Finally a window to play that Thassa that he took a while ago. Takes up his Jace, and Mutavault's going to get in for 2.
And Mutavault's going to eat a Freakus Cure here. Take the Cure.
We talked about these Thassas, so we saw Ryan on camera last round. His blue-white control deck has 2 Divination, 2 Thassa. There are no creatures in the deck, but he can, in fact, turn Thassa on with Jace's and, with Jace and
so 4 detention spheres will turn it on.
Right.
Or 2 detention spheres and a Jace.
Yep. I mean, obviously, that's not going to happen consistently. That's not good enough to put the card in your deck.
Yeah, I mean, this is there as a card selection engine.
He's like 3-mana enchantment, scry every turn. Is competitive with Divination, I think. That's where he's at. It's like, is that better than Divination? Most people like Divination in that spot, but...
Yeah, I know when Mike and I did our set review, we were wondering, I mean, you know, we didn't see the blue deck fully, but, you know, Thassa, we were like, this seems like the kind of card a control player would like to play, right? You know, you picture an Andrew Cuneo sitting behind a Thassa, just like crafting the top of his deck.
Here's Sphinx's Rev, by the way. Ryan in great shape in this game. Rev for 5, I believe.
Yeah. Just rev for a whole new hand with Thassa and Jace going.
Right. Yeah, Matt had the 1 early Underworld Connections. He baited out a counter with his Nightveil Spectre in order to get Underworld Connections down, but there was a detention sphere for it, so...
And we're almost at the...
He's alive!
Detention sphere...
What did he detention? Did he detention sphere
Detention sphere is a May. It's a May, so you could...
detention sphere nothing.
Yeah.
And then Thassa runs into Devour Flesh.
Oh, no.
He goes to all that trouble, places a detention sphere on nothing, but his Thassa just gets killed. Crazy. Now he doesn't even have the Scry engine. Was that a little greedy there?
That might have been a little greedy.
Especially game 1, where they've got Devour Fleshes.
Well, maybe he wants Matt to leave the Devour Fleshes in for game 2.
Funny.
But by the way, after sideboard, he can bring in Nightveil Specters, which he has in his sideboard. I don't know if you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I gotta say,
make even more sense. Yeah, Nightveil Spectre in after boarding when they take all their creature kill spells out.
Yeah,
that sounds sweet.
Oh, there's a Cyclonic Rift, another Sphinx's Rev. I imagine that'll be
he takes the Rev.
Yeah, we're at the sort of infinite portion of the blue-white control deck.
Getting there.
Where you're just able to chain elixirs
and Sphinxes
and never. Yeah, I don't even think you care
about Underworld Connections. No, come on. You can't have an Underworld Connections. What do you think I'm holding? Sperling just going through the motions. He's not actually dead yet. I mean, he knows that his odds are really slim, but it's not quite.
Every Freakus Cure he draws is like, ah.
Okay, here's another giant Rev. This one is for 4, 8, 9. Yeah, and Sperling's trying to figure out when do I scoop.
Right, exactly.
He wants to make sure he preserves enough time to win game 2 and game 3.
Yeah, Donovan, who played against Huey on the camera last round, yesterday.
Yep.
Came up to me. He's like, "Did you see anything I did, really wrong?" And I was
You
like,
told him you should have conceded.
I
10 minutes
said,
earlier?
yeah, that's what I said. There's an Elspeth.
Okay, now you scoop. Good enough. I mean, Sperling's also gathering information. They're, I think, 13 minutes into the round. I mean, they've played pretty briskly. I mean, both players seem content to just play a lot of turns very quickly, so time seems unlikely to be an issue.
Right.
I mean, the blue-white control
In
deck
fact,
has...
you even see Ryan going, "You can go while I'm discarding. I don't
Right.
care."
Right. Yeah, I mean, Ryan has established overwhelming control here in 13 minutes.
Cure one of them.
Farik is cure one of your tokens.
And one of the soldiers is dead. Alright. Yeah.
She's back. And she is alive.
Yeah.
The Elspeth tokens will prevent any more devoured flesh shenanigans, though, and Matt has seen enough.
I got to tell
On to
you,
game 2.
I kind of like this deck.
With the Thassus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at first it looked like, what's this, rogue crazy blue-white, but it's basically, it's the good core, but 2 divination, 2 Thassa instead of 4 divination. Right. And, 5 counters with a couple syncopates. The 2 Cyclonic Rift is the other sort of techie twist that he's got. I mean, so it's not that far off from the sort of tried and true list that Huey finished second at a Grand Prix with.
But I
it looks solid. It looks good.
That Thassa's kind of like a major innovation.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
It may just be a nice, solid upgrade.
Sideboarding, he's got some interesting cards. Obviously, we talked about the Night Veil Specters.
Yeah, I want to see. It seems like you bring them in. Isn't this a matchup where your opponent is going to take all his creature removal spells out, and so you surprise him and steal game 2 with Night Veil Specter?
Sure.
I mean, I guess Matt can block a Night Veil Specter.
Right, and you can't exactly Detention Sphere a Night Veil Specter to clear the
funny.
way.
Yeah, maybe this is not the right matchup then. But I mean, what is then?
I mean, he's got 2 more Cyclonic Rifts. Pretty good against rats.
Sure.
Also 2 Blind Obedience, which is kind of an interesting card.
True.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, here we get a look at what's going on some of the other tables. Shahar Shenhar has a 1-game lead on William Jensen.
Oh, so they're both 2-0 today.
Yeah, Neil Oliver and Alexander Hayne just still grinding it out in game 1.
Oh, and there's our Mazes Zen player. John Torres did pick up a 3rd loss, it looks like.
Okay. And
he's lost last round.
He's playing against Corey Huber, and he's up a game.
Sure.
But again, players come to a Grand Prix for a lot of different reasons. It's not always necessarily about winning. I mean, you go to a Grand Prix, you win a couple $100, you finish top 16 or something, top 32. That's pretty exciting, especially in your first crack at day 2.
Definitely.
Not what these guys are thinking about right now.
Conley Woods watching the future matches?
Yes.
That's
it's weird.
That means he didn't make day 2.
It's weird. Evil Mirror Universe Conley Woods.
Oh, he's got like the Spock Mirror.
He's got
Universe
he's got the little. It's not quite a goatee if it doesn't connect, but he definitely looks like he's waiting at a bus station to sneak out of town.
So this is Evil Conley?
This is Evil Conley.
Leaves the team, goes to join. Is his team the Dark Side or something?
Yeah. Hey, not with Channel Fireball anymore. He's on Team TCG Player now. They announced. Yep.
Formerly known as Luxurious Hair. So Ari Locks, Craig Wesco, those guys.
Yeah.
Huey's playing blue-white control as well, similar to the list Ryan's got.
Yeah, I mean,
the Thassus and the
I'm
Rifts.
sure to some extent Ryan's base for his deck was Huey's second place Grand Prix deck.
Should be. Shahar's got a control deck as well. Is he playing the blue-white touch red?
Shahar's playing.
He's just playing blue devotion.
He's just playing blue devotion.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of the Channel Fireball guys showed up with the blue-white deck with a touch of red for Assemble the Legions out of the sideboard and Counterflux as their counter.
Yeah, Shahar's playing my blue.
When they're ready.
With the 1 Nykthos.
The 1 Nykthos, all right.
Whenever you guys are ready, just keep playing.
All right.
So Matt Sperling trying to stay undefeated. He seems good at this standard format.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems to know it inside and out. No discard spell for him on turn 1.
I mean, he's basically played, what, 12, 14, 26 matches and lost twice across 2 GPs.
Wow, that's right.
I mean, 6 of those are buys, so fine. But 20, I think he's like 20-2. If I give him credit for the win against Reitzel, which he then drew with lethal on the stack.
I mean, he earns it.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So here comes our first Thoughtseize. Oh, that's a Night Veil Spectre.
Yeah. Matt reaches for his pen. Ryan pauses for effect.
Now, Pithing Needle also comes out of the sideboard.
2 land.
You see the Syncopate go again?
He didn't take it last time. He took the Syncopate Revelation
Oh, that's
last
right.
time.
That's right.
Which, yeah, if he takes that Syncopate, then he gets to resolve either the Night Veil. Then he gets either Night Veil Spectre or Underworld Dreams would have survived that opening sequence, right?
Yeah, I think
Maybe
so.
there was a Supreme Verdict for
Oh, he
Night
knew
Veil
he had a
Spectre?
Detention Sphere also. Is the
Right,
problem.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it was Syncopate Detention Sphere canceled out both of them because he took the Sphinx's Rev rather than take a card that was immediately relevant. Let's see if he goes for long-term or short-term here. Some of it also depends on his hand. Like, can he deal with a Night Veil Spectre?
right,
He's
looks
got
like he
Grey
has
Merchant, another Thoughtseize,
and an Erebos.
and what's the other card?
Erebos, the god.
Isn't there one more card?
Might
Like
be
a demon,
land.
maybe? Takes Dissolve.
I'm at 18.
We might just see him just run the other Thoughtseize out here.
Quite possibly. Yeah, if he can't kill a Night Veil Spectre, he should Thoughtseize it. He's got a demon.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yes.
I would take Spectre. Yeah, then your opponent is on all reactive cards, and you have time to kind of set up whatever you want to set up.
Once you've cast that Thoughtseize, it shouldn't take this long to choose the next card. Yeah.
No, he took the Syncopate. It just runs out. Yeah, Night Veil Spectre. Okay.
Okay. Pay 2 life for Hallowed Fountain. Night Veil Spectre.
This should be Desecration Demon. Yeah, if Ryan comes up with a Detention Sphere, I guess Demon does hold a decent job of holding off Spectre here, because Ryan doesn't want a Supreme Verdict until he gets more value. And Supreme Verdict kills on Night Veil Spectre. Pithing Needle isn't relevant. I guess this line does work pretty well for Matt. Oh, he drew Underworld Connections. That's nice. And he took the Dissolve and the Syncopate. He took all the permission out of Ryan's hand. So now that Underworld Connections will resolve. He's going to have to, he's got to swap.
Bemrose does have the Pithing Needle that he can name whatever land gets enchanted.
True.
Doesn't prevent it from tapping for mana, but it does prevent it
so
from
he can get one card and force the Pithing Needle if he goes down the Underworld Connections line. That's still probably the right line.
Connections.
Yeah, he puts it on a Mutavault.
Puts it for value here, knowing about the Pithing Needle.
Right.
So now it also shuts off, that would also shut off Bemrose's Mutavaults.
Trigger?
Yeah.
13.
Oh, well that's a good one.
Can't cast it.
Let's see, how many of those blue-black Scrylands does he have?
You've got the list.
Okay. Nope.
Yeah, he probably will. His deck can probably cast it, but
Yes.
he can't have more than 2 or 3 of those, I wouldn't think.
Yes.
Yeah, he only has 2 of the Temples of Deceit. Yeah, the Pithing Needle's on Mutavault.
Yeah, of course.
So he cannot activate that Mutavault to sack it to kill Desecration Demon. But Matt Sperling cannot activate his Mutavault.
Oh, Cyclonic Rift the Demon as a response to the Grey Merchant. So the Demon gets bounced and the Grey Merchant hits for 2 less.
Yeah, so he only gets for 4 instead of 6.
Is Ryan down to 2? Is that true?
17-2.
I guess they flipped through a couple turns here really quick. Demon was getting it done.
Yeah.
Spectre's getting in there, but haha, there's the black mana, but it comes into play tapped. That's not good enough, right? Grey Merchant, just a hit from a Grey Merchant is lethal.
does. It looks like he does have a Sphinx's in hand.
Okay.
So you can Sphinx for 2 here.
Sure. He still has the Supreme Verdict from before.
I'll take it for 2. Sphinx for 2.
Yep.
Go to 2.
Sphinx for 2, go to 2.
Yup.
Draws another. So he did side it. It looks like he may have sided in more Cyclonic Rifts.
So Sperling has, I think, a pair of demons in his hand.
Does he want? Does
Is
he
that a
want,
Devour Flesh? Did he leave one?
It
in?
is a Devour Flesh.
And then Erebos.
Devour Flesh, yeah.
All right, he goes for Devour Flesh. He wants to get rid of that Night Veil Spectre because if Ryan untaps, he can cast the Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
So no Hero's Downfall for you.
Oh, he casts Erebos.
You get 3 life, but I have an Erebos, and it's turned on, right? No connections for 2.
Yeah, oh
Grey
yeah,
Merchant
it's
for
turned
2,
on.
Erebos for 1. Supreme Verdict would turn it off at least temporarily, but we know the Desecration Demon would come down and turn it back on again. There's Mutavault, which can't be activated because of the Pithing Needle.
Looks like he does have an Elixir, but that's, I don't think, that would get him to 10. But I think he's thinking about Cyclonic Rift
Yep,
here.
yep.
Oh, that won't get him to 10 because he needs to deal with the Erebos.
Can't gain any life while Erebos is there.
Yeah. So here
All
comes the
right, so
demon.
here's Demon. Matt is basically playing backup Black Pips to make it harder to turn off Erebos.
Sure. So Cyclonic Rift, Erebos here.
And
Yeah.
Erebos gets hit with Cyclonic Rift. Matt's probably going to draw a card as a response.
Yes.
In response, I'll pay 2 life.
Pays 2 life, draws a card.
Means he can't recast it, but he's already got enough, he thinks, with the Demon and the Grey Merchant. I don't know.
He knows this is Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, recasting Erebos is pretty good there. I don't know if I would have drawn that card.
So, right. And now
Ryan
Bemrose
takes
gets
the
to go to
window he's
8.
got,
Yeah.
Ryan takes the window while Erebos is away to get 5 life from his Elixir,
Which is like
reshuffle
a-
graveyard.
It's the difference between being an 8 and -2.
Okay, it's important.
They don't let you keep playing if you're at -2, generally. Except in a few corner cases.
All right, and there's Supreme Verdict. Sweep the board.
So there is Erebos, and now we're going to see another demon, or no,
Yeah, Matt's been playing around Syncopate. I think that's why he chose not to recast Erebos last turn and chose to draw a card instead. He figures if he plays a card advantage strategy and just doesn't give his opponent windows to Syncopate to do super efficient things like Syncopate for 2.
First.
just drew a Pack Rat. And a Night Veil Spectre. Hard to imagine what Ryan does to get out from under here.
Yeah, this is the matchup where Erebos shines, for sure. Indestructible, big indestructible creatures, nice against Supreme Verdict. Drawing cards is nice against everything.
And this deck, I mean, really lives on gaining that life off of Supreme Verdict.
Well, there is
Wow.
giant Cyclonic Rift. It's funny that overloading it is correct on this board, but it means that Matt can actually move the Underworld connections onto a swamp now.
Yes.
And the Pithing Needle is effectively doing nothing except turning off Mutavault.
Turning off his own Mutavaults.
Well, and Matt's.
And Matt's, sure. But
Yeah, that extra land means Matt can go Underworld Connections here.
or
You
is
go
he
Underworld
gonna go-
Connections or Erebos?
I think he's just got to go Erebos.
Replay Erebos?
Yeah. He just doesn't want Ryan gaining, you know, a bunch of life and Supreme Verdicting. I'm sorry, Sphinx is revving. And as it turns out, like Supreme Verdict is the one relevant card in Ryan's hand.
Connections in swamp.
So Underworld
So
Connections
yeah,
on a
Underworld
swamp.
Connections comes down
Wow.
on a swamp, resolves. Yeah, Ryan is kind of out of gas, and Matt has played a really nice line here. Lots of card advantage, playing around lots of threats, and advancing his board state all at the same time.
I mean, you could appreciate this too, is the using your life as.
Oh yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
like I can just keep paying life here.
Right.
You know,
wasn't
all of this damage is Sperling is done to himself with either his Thought Seizes or his Erebos.
Yeah, and Ryan
Yeah.
scoops him up. There you go.
Matt even gained a little life off of his Grey Merch in that game.
Right.
He really dinged
It's like
himself.
4.
Yeah.
Well, on to game 3.
Yeah,
It was really interesting. Like the Thought Seizes in that deck are so skill testing. Like good players.
That's been
find
Paul
lines.
Rietzel's claim the
Absolutely,
whole time.
yes. Multiple times. Yeah, Paul like really enjoys the mirror because he feels like he'll outplay his opponent.
Yeah. So Shahar is up a game on William Jensen. All 3 of the other matches are tied at 1 apiece.
Definitely crunch time. 10-1, GP, kind of almost halfway through day 2. Good matches. Yeah, so Matt's approach with the Thought Seizes that game was to take the permission. He had 2
Right.
Thought Seizes early. He used them to take out a Dissolve and a Syncopate. And then from there, he was able to resolve all the spells he wanted to resolve and, gradually pulled a little bit ahead, a little bit ahead, a little bit further ahead.
Right, and that match was seemed to be about Erebos.
Well, early on, it was about Night Veil Spectre and Demon, right?
Sure.
Ryan brought in the techie Night Veil Spectres from his sideboard, and Matt chose not to take it with Thoughtseize, had cleared a path such that the Demon could be relied upon to block it if necessary.
Right.
And then just went aggro with the Demon, dealt so much damage, 6, that adds up awfully quickly.
Right.
That's what really pushed Ryan against the wall, where then, finally Ryan dealt with the Demon, but Matt had gotten so far ahead that, Erebos kept the pressure.
Right. Also, a pretty sweet play lost in there is putting the Underworld Connections on Mutavault, knowing your opponent has the Pithing Needle and that they're really gunning to name whatever land
Right.
you're gonna.
And Matt
Underworld
actually
Connections.
had more Mutavaults at the time.
Yeah.
But because it's a Desecration Demon game, like preventing Ryan from ever tapping Desecration Demon was really
right.
powerful.
Getting that just 1 mana, sack a land, and tap Desecration Demon.
Right.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Right. That you're right. That was a really nice play. And then we even saw it kick in later where, Matt's able to then put the next one on the swamps. I don't think he was counting on it being the same Underworld Connections
Right.
returned via Cyclonic Rift. But if he draws on Underworld Connections, he can put them on the swamp. That's also something a lot of people will blunder their way into that. They'll just
You can name Underworld Connections with
Sure.
Pithing Needle too. That's another blunder people make.
not as much these days.
Yeah.
That was like a November era blunder.
Yeah.
But when you're playing, like if you play a second Underworld Connections in a post-sideboarded game, you want to put it on a different land type if you can.
Right, absolutely.
Because otherwise your opponent can Pithing Needle Swamp and all of a sudden they hit both your Underworld Connections.
Right. Which is another argument for the Scrylands too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just so you have a diverse, 3
Right.
different types of land that you can play in your deck.
Yeah, otherwise you kind of have to put it on Mutavault, but then it's, you can't use it as both a creature and a card drawer.
I wonder what changes do we think, if any, that Ryan has made to his deck at this point. Do you think he's rethought the Night Veil Spectres?
No, I think his plan is to cut Matt such that he doesn't have 2 Thoughtseizes in his opening hand.
Ooh, that's good.
I think that's really what he's hoping for in Game 3.
Looks like a very land-heavy hand for Bemrose. And do we have a Thoughtseize from Matt? And we also have to assume Matt brought in 3 Duress in this game.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. He did leave in some creature removal. We saw the Devour Flesh. I mean, Matt saw Thassa in Game 1, so he may think there were more creatures in the main. All right, so turn 2 Thoughtseize. Sees Syncopate, 3 land, Elixir, and what's the goal? Is that a Detention Sphere?
Yeah. He just takes that Elixir, doesn't he? And that's...
And then the
kinda
Elixir game
shuts
is gone
off.
forever?
I guess you got to take maybe you have to take the Syncopate?
I mean, Elixir hasn't been super relevant. Oh, it's Supreme Verdict, not Detention Sphere.
Trigger Syncopate.
Yeah. I mean, Syncopate, this is when Syncopate's at its best. Some of it depends on Matt's hand. Like, there's no Underworld Connections answer, for example. If Matt has Underworld Connections in his hand,
Right.
I'd absolutely take the Syncopate in a heartbeat and just windmill slam. Yeah. Ryan's like, let me get this out of Thoughtseize range.
He's like, that was scary.
Yeah, he feels like he dodged a bullet there.
Go ahead.
Nightveil Spectre.
And that's just a duress for Supreme Verdict here, I assume.
Yeah, I assume.
Oh, no.
Huh. Why would you do that rather than Supreme Verdict? Don't you Supreme Verdict there? Then play your own Nightveil? Weird. I mean, I guess Ryan thinks he can get more value out of Supreme Verdict by stalling the board for a while, but
There's an Erebos.
Matt's like, let's play an Erebos game.
Yeah, that card was good for me.
I like drawing extra cards. You're not going to pressure my life total at all, so...
You have 3 cards now? 4 cards.
And oh, by the way, it does shut off the life gain from Elixir.
Yeah.
Cyclonic Rift on, that's why he didn't Supreme Verdict. Still might have Supreme Verdicted there. I mean, he gets in a hit with his Nightveil Spectre there, which doesn't suck. Gray Merchant. No temples for Ryan yet. Looks like he'll have to get the black mana.
he needs to hit the swamps
Yeah.
off of Sperling's deck.
It's a big Gray Merchant.
Duress gets...
Duress, one of the 2 Supreme
Wow.
Verdicts.
I said you wouldn't die now. Yeah, but just because it doesn't give you a turn.
There are like 2 more Duresses, I think, in Matt's hand.
Yeah?
Oh, no, it's a Duress and a Pack Rat, it looks like.
So do you Duress Supreme Verdict and play Pack Rat? You're going to get hit by Nightveil Spectre again if you do that. Like, if he replays Nightveil Spectre, then he won't get hit
it's
by...
Demon.
Okay, so he goes with Demon as his blocker. Yeah, I don't think he wanted to get hit by Nightveil Spectre again if he could help it. He'll get a Mutavault for his trouble, and he will get hit.
6 spells.
Devour Flesh. Still no black
Still
mana
no
for
black
Ryan.
mana, yep.
But a second Nightveil Spectre.
It's going aggro this game.
He really is. I mean, against Erebos, you kind of have to. I'm just surprised he never fired off the Supreme Verdict before he started putting his own creatures on the board.
Yeah, he's going to take a beating this round.
Can I attack and announce my trigger?
Can I attack with my 7/7 and my Erebos?
Yikes.
Yes.
Duress your Supreme Verdict here, just so nothing gets too stupid. He's got 1 card in hand.
What's his other option? Play a Pack Rat? Yeah, I think I Duress here. Yep. Ryan has no cards in hand. He sideboarded into a Nightveil Spectre deck. If he attacks, 1 will get blocked. The other will hit. There's a Swamp, which turns on Devour Flesh, which is kind of exciting.
Devour Flesh you.
You're 8? I'm an 8.
Matt's got to decide
Can't
who to
Devour
lose.
Flesh himself and gain life.
Right. What do you sack here? Nightveil Spectre. He's got an Underworld Connections in his hand to return on Erebos either way. Ryan has 1 card in his hand. He just drew it off the top of his deck. I think I agree with Matt's line. He'd rather have a 7/7 flyer than a Nightveil Spectre. Now it's even more clearly correct. I mean, if Ryan's going to sack Nightveil Spectres to tap Demon, I think Ryan has to.
Yeah, he has to.
But I think Matt's okay with that. Like, Matt is winning this race. He plays Underworld Connections to turn Erebos back on again, and then threatens to attack with both. Ryan is... He's going to have to sack he's going to have to sack 1 to the Demon, take the Erebos 1 more time.
Right.
Then he dies to Gray Merchant, but...
He's kind of just...
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to preserve the ability to attack with it. Oh, you look at it, though. I bet Ryan's plan is that Gray Merchant. Like,
Yes.
how hard... That Gray Merchant hits for 11 if he comes up with a Swamp.
Right.
So Ryan can hit for 2 Nightveil Spectres, and then if he gets a Swamp off of either of them, he wins with the Gray Merchant. Like, that's his line.
Except he's going to have to sack one of them.
Yeah, you sack one to tap the demon, or block, either way. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't give it a counter. Now he's got 2 Specters. That's 4 damage to drop Sperling to 10. Oh, and he's got 3/6. He's only got 8 pips. So Gray Merchant, the swamp is not lethal because it's down to 8 pips.
Right. And he doesn't gain any life, so he...
Oh, super close. Yeah.
Matt plays a pack rat.
Not bad. Yeah.
Attacks with both. Pack rat. Night Veil Spectre. Plays Night Veil Spectre, plays Pack rat. Yeah.
Oh.
He's going to survive another turn. I mean, Matt needs a Gray Merchant. Gray Merchant wins the game on the spot.
He has a couple chances to do it here. That was
Maze
not
well
it.
Draw a card.
Maybe?
I mean, right, he's a little worried about the race here because he cannot block in the air reliably. He knows his demon's going to get tapped. So if Pack Rat taps the demon, he might take as many as 6 in the air. I think that Gray Merchant just is lethal now. I don't think he can stay out of Gray Merchant.
Well, except that he's at 3, so he can't let anything.
Ryan has to block everything, right?
Right.
Well, Spectre can block Pack Rat.
He can let the rat through.
No, 2 rats can be made as a response.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think Matt needs to draw a card. If it's Gray Merchant, he wins. And it doesn't, that 1 life is not going to matter. Ooh,
He just drew Hero's Downfall.
Hero's Downfall. Wow. All right. Can he clear a path?
Clear my attack.
Plays
Hard
cheap
cast
rat.
a Pack Rat for a 1 mana discount. That makes sense. Now he wants to attack. Ryan is... Oh, if Ryan doesn't sack, if Ryan does the same I'm going to block game, Matt can blow him out with Hero's Downfall. Ryan doesn't... But Ryan sacks this time. There was only the 1 flying blocker, so Ryan could have been blown out with Hero's Downfall there. But he dodges it.
But he's going to go down to 0 relevant permanents after that Hero's Downfall. Because he's going to down... Matt's got to downfall this...
Spectre.
This Spectre.
Turning off the Gray Merchant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Matt Sperling. Wow.
Going to 12-0 here.
Looking to go to 12-0 after going 12-2
Wow.
at the last GP. 12-2 plus a weirdo 15th round. Wow. Super impressive run for him.
Yeah. And he was on a similar run in Albuquerque, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he went 12-2-1, which was really 13-2 with a draw from a winning position.